Now keep your eye on pitcher Horner as he goes for that final out. The batter is pinch hitter Jim Price. He sends a fly ball to deep left. Lou Brock has it. It's a happy Joe Horner as the favored Cardinals take a 2-1 lead in the series. Next day, there's a hangover sadness in Detroit, and the skies rain down on Tiger Stadium. But series fans can't be discouraged by this. They come out anyway, for today is the occasion of the heralded rematch between Denny McLain and Bob Gibson. Commissioner Eckert and his aide Joe Reichler discussed the big question, to play or not to play. The Hawkers make their own kind of sunshine in the stands. How come it always tastes so much better at a ball game? Vice President Hubert Humphrey is here with Commissioner Eckert and Tiger owner John Fetzer.
Jackie Robinson, former great second baseman of the Dodgers, Vice President Humphrey, Commissioner Eckert in the commissioner's box. 1:35, 5 minutes from now, Game 4. The World Series will be underway. Denny McLain and Bob Gibson now have revved up their warm-up pacing. They're both firing hard now. Gibson started behind McLain, of course. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem, sung by Marvin Gaye. Oh, can you by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight that gleaming, whose broad light and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Then the rocket red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, save us thy star-spangled banner yet wave. For the land, for the free, and the whole of the free. The fourth game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you from Tiger Stadium as the Cardinals meet the Tigers. Have the first ball thrown out now. The Tigers take the field. Hank Greenberg, a former slugging first baseman here and also played the outfield. Hank Greenberg has the honor of throwing out the first ball. He gets a big hand. There it is. The Bill Freehand. Now they'll do it again. John Fetzer, the owner of the Tigers, the president of their ball club, right behind him. Hammer and Hank Greenberg, a Hall of Famer. Charlie Gehringer threw out the first ball yesterday. So McLain's on the mound, ready for his warm-up pitches. The Tigers are on the field. Game 4 is about to get underway. It's going to be delayed by 35 minutes. And you're here to call the play-by-play for you in the first half of the game, the Tiger telecaster, George Kell.
Thank you, Kurt, and good afternoon again, everyone. Well, it's a cloudy, overcast afternoon, and we're still getting a little bit of rain here at Tiger Stadium, and we're going to get it throughout the afternoon. Just hope that it won't be enough to stop this ball game. We're going to start on time at 1:35, as Kurt announced to you, but we're still getting a few fine drizzles, and the weatherman has said that it will rain off and on here in Detroit until sometime late tonight. In fact, we have the weatherman right here with us. Brock will lead off for the Cardinals. He'll be followed by Flood, then Maris, then Cepeda, McCarver, Shannon, Javier, Maxwell, and the pitcher, of course, will be Bob Gibson. There is one change in the Tiger lineup. Eddie Matthews is at third base today in place of Don Wirtz, and he'll be batting in the number 7 position. Bill Freehan has dropped to the number 8 spot. So it'll be McAuliffe, Stanley, Kaline, Cash, Horton, Northrop, Matthews, Freehan, and the pitcher, of course, will be 31-game winner Dennis McLain. Another full house here at Tiger Stadium. 53,634 have jammed their way into this ballpark to see game number 4 in this great pitching classic between Denny McLain and Bob Gibson. They were the pitchers, as you remember, in game number 1, and in that one, Bob Gibson was absolutely tremendous. He set a new World Series record with 17 strikeouts, and he shut the Tigers out. So here's Lou Brock to step in to lead off. He's been the big hero in the series, of course, for the Cardinals. He's been on base a lot, and when he's on base, he's running. The Tigers have not been able to contain this fellow as yet. McLain ready, and here's the first pitch of the ball game. It's outside. 1 ball, no strike. Brock, Flood, and Maris will be the batters in the first inning. There's a drive hit deep into right center field. This ball's hit a mile out there, and it is gone into the bleachers in deep right center field. Boy, Lou Brock hit that one a country mile. You don't see many of them, Kurt, hit into the bleachers in right center field here in Detroit.
And especially in the upper deck, he hit a tremendous shot in St. Louis. He now leads the series in base hits with 6, and that gives him 6 hits to 12 times up. He's only batting .500.
That's his 4th series home run, 2nd in this series.
The wet weather hasn't dampened Lou Brock. He belts McLain's second pitch into the stand. A tremendous 420-foot home run. What a dismal beginning for the Tigers.
Flood hits it on the ground to second base. McAuliffe has it to first, and he's out. Kurt Flood hits the first pitch down to second, and Dick McAuliffe tosses him out. So there's 1 out in the first inning, and the batter will be Roger Maris. McLain is not throwing hard, not like he can. Maris got his first series hit yesterday, a double down the left field line. There's a bouncer to first base. Cash is going to have to play it to McLain. He drops the ball. McLain had an easy play, and he dropped it.
Supposed to be the best on the Tigers, taking a throw, covering a bag, isn't he, George?
He is, Kurt. He's the best fielding pitcher probably the Tigers have, but that one just popped right out of his glove, and it'll be an error charged against the pitcher.
McLain, obviously shaken, drops a good throw while covering first against Maris.
Fouls it back, and the count is even at 2-2. Denny took a little bit off the curveball on that one. He caught Cepeda out in front. He fouled it back. That's the pitch he would like for Cepeda to have hit. He had lost his power in his swing and wouldn't have been able to drive it very far. He struck him out. Sidearm fastball, and Cepeda strikes out. So that's out number 2 here in the first inning, and the batter will be the catcher, Tim McCarver. There's a line drive, base hit. Willie Horton cuts it off. Maris will go to third on the single. McCarver holds on.
Tim McCarver's up, and baseball's first 30-game winner in 3 decades is in trouble again. Only a nice cutoff in left center by Willie Horton keeps Maris from scoring. But Maris comes in a moment later as Mike Shannon chops one over the mound and beats it out.
Here it is again. This is going to be trouble. McAuliffe's going to have Stanley. Throw, safe. Stanley cut in front of McAuliffe on that high-bounding ball, and he had no chance to get him. Shannon has good speed. He just outran it.
And so the Cardinals are off and running here with 2 runs in the top of the first.
He got him on a curve. Javier takes the curveball, and he's called out on strikes. The Cardinals get 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits, 1 error, 2 left, and the scores we go into the bottom of the first. St. Louis 2 with Detroit coming to bat. Well, here's Bob Gibson, and the fans here in Tiger Stadium will be getting their first chance to see this fellow in person. They watched him on television. Game number 1, but they've been anxiously awaiting their chance to see Bob Gibson. Dick McAuliffe steps in to lead off. He'll be followed by Stanley and then Kaline. Fastball is right in there. 1 strike. Gibson wasted no time as he pumped a good fastball across. Ground ball, first base. Cepeda will make the play unassisted. So McAuliffe goes out to the first baseman. That's 1 away. The batter will be Mickey Stanley. There's a pop fly. Maybe in play. Cepeda's chasing it near the stands and makes the grab. Orlando Cepeda. Here's Al Kaline. Here's a drive hit deep into right center field. This one is well hit, and it is off the glove of Flood. Kaline goes to second with a double.
Kurt Flood, the top defensive center fielder in the National League, gives this one a tremendous try. He was playing Kaline way over into left center. He got the tip of the glove on it, couldn't hold on to it. The play is being backed up by Roger Mara. And Al Kaline has wound up to second with a double.
Down low. 3-1. Kurt, I think Cash came up with the best line of the day in the clubhouse a moment ago. He says, what would be nice is play about 4 innings and rain it out and Gibson miss a turn.
Hasn't worked out that way.
No.
He's pitching Norm low and away right now, trying to keep it away from his power.
Took the slider. That was a hard slider breaking in on his fist. 3-2 to Cash. Kaline at second base, 2 outs. Cardinals lead 2-0. We're in the first inning. He struck him. Gibson reared up and threw the fastball by Cash. For the Tigers in the first, no runs on 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 left. And the score at the end of 1 inning of play, St. Louis 2, Detroit 0. Al Maxwell will lead off for the Cardinals here in the second inning. Here's Dick Sisler at first base, coaching for the Cardinals. Joe Schultz over at third base. 1 strike to Maxwell. He'll be followed by Gibson and then Brock. 2-0, the Cardinals lead. We're in the top of the second. Denny McLain getting ready. Strike 2. He's throwing a lot of sidearm fastballs today. The shot from center field is a wonderful shot. You can watch the ball coming right in. There it is, strike 3. He got the curveball over the outside corner, and Maxwell was called out on strike. That's 1 away in the second inning, and the batter will be Gibson. There's a bouncing ball deep to short. Mickey Stanley, long throw. He got him. Bouncing ball to second. Dick McAuliffe has it over to first in the inning. Well, McLain gets them out 1-2-3, nothing across for the Cardinals in the second, and the scores we go into the bottom of the second. St. Louis 2 and Detroit nothing. Here's Willie Horton to lead off for the Tigers in the second. Way up high, and it's 3-0. A ball 3 and a no-strike count to Willie Horton. Cardinals lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Outside he walks it. So Willie Horton gets a walk. He's at first base with nobody out. And the batter will be Jim Northrup. Fly ball, left field. Should be an easy play for Lou Brock. He puts it away. So Northrup is out on the first pitch. That's one away, and the batter will be Eddie Matthews. Here's a drive to right field. It's in for a base hit. Eddie Matthews drilled it hard to right. He hit a curveball and a good one. That's hit number 2 off Gibson. And the batter is Bill Freehan, who's looking for his first hit in this World Series. Way up high. 3-2 to Freehan. Here's Shandy's coming out. Red Shandy's, the manager of the Cardinals. Gibson has not been letter perfect, Kurt, in this game as he was in game number 1.
Oh, he struck out 2 in the first inning at St. Louis, struck out the side in the second, 2 more in the third. He was ahead of the hitters. He has delivered a lot more pitches in this game than he had to in the first inning and the third in St. Louis.
This is the key pitch of the ball game for him so far. 3-2 to Freehan. Here it is. He fouled it back. Still a full count to Bill. Strike 3. He got the fastball over. Freehan is called out on strike. A big strikeout for Gibson. And it leaves it all up to Denny McLain. Denny pops it foul. It's over near the Cardinal dugout. Cepeda is there, and he's got it. Almost ran in under it. No runs in the inning on 1 hit. There were no errors, 2 left, and the score at the end of 2. The Cardinals 2, and the Tigers nothing. Curt Flood, the leadoff man. He lines it to right field. A solid base hit for Curt Flood.
He singles to right.
That's hit number 4 for the Cardinals. Roger Maris will be the batter. He was safe on an error and scored a run in the first inning. Here's the runner at first. Curt Flood. Here's a drive into center field. Northrup going back. He's there, makes the catch. Flood had gone all the way around the bag at second. And he had to hustle back as Northrup made a fine throw.
You know, Flood knew there was nobody out. He went around 2 steps around second and got back, but that's some pretty daring base running.
Kurt, I'm watching this rain come down right now, and it is raining hard as it's rained all day. And what a monumental decision this is going to be for somebody if they have to stop the game.
They're either going to have to play it in the rain, or this infield is going to get soaked here very quickly, and the conditions are going to get miserable.
Cepeda, the batter, he pops it up. Norman Cash going down the right field line after this one. Boy, he needs some windshield wipers on. Norman Cash makes the play on a foul fly off the bat of Cepeda. That's out number 2, and the batter will be McCarver. Well, if it was a nothing ball game or a tie game, it wouldn't be such a big decision. But with one team out in front and these games so all important, of course there comes a time when you just cannot play, too. The decision rests solely with the commissioner of baseball. And he's here, right in the front row. There's a drive to left center. McCarver coming through with another hit. This one's going all the way to the fence. That'll get a run in. McCarver is headed for third, and he'll go in easily. That ball hit the wet grass, and it scooted by Northrup all the way to the fence in deep left center field, and Flood scored easily from first base.
Once again, it's Tim McCarver. Jim Northrup tries to cut off the ball, but it goes through for a triple. Flood comes in to score, and McCarver pulls up with his second triple of the series.
Amazed that ball got through that gap that quickly after the rain. You'd think it would have died out there, but it scooted like it was on sun-baked ground.
Gives you some idea, Kurt, of how good a shape the ground is in out there so far. Here's Mike Shannon. He had an infield single in the first inning. He drove in a run. Here's a drive, fair ball down the third baseline into the corner. Shannon is on his way to second, and he'll go in with a stand-up double. Boy, he hit that one like a bullet.
With 2 outs, Shannon doubles down the third baseline, and the Cardinals lead 4-0.
It is raining harder now. It rained from 11 o'clock right up until we started this game. And this, I believe, George, is the hardest it has actually rained so far today, right now.
It is, Kurt, and it's much darker than it's been all day. Javier the batter, and he takes it up high. 1 ball and a strike. Umbrellas are everywhere. Bleachers in center field covered with umbrellas. Outside, a ball 2 and a no-strike count to Javier. And this is really a downpour now at Tiger Stadium. There seems to be no letting up. A 3-1 pitch. Outside, he missed with a curve, and Javier gets a walk. You'd have to believe that that was semi-intentional. And they're going to stop the ball game right now. The umpires, I believe they are. They're meeting in the center of the infield. And they're going to stop it right now.
The rains come down hard again, and the umpires call time. They order the field covered, and everybody waits patiently for 1 hour and 14 minutes on this sunless Sunday. When the action finally resumes, Joe Sparma has replaced Denny McLain on the mound.
So we're ready to go. Sparma gets set, and the pitch coming up to Dow Maxville. Line drive, 1 hop. McAuliffe knocks it down over to first, and Cash scoops it up. Dick McAuliffe knocked it down, a short hop on the liner, flipped it over to Cash in time for the putout. The Cardinals get 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits. There were no errors, 2 left, and the scores we go into the bottom of the third. St. Louis 4, Detroit nothing. Well, we go into the bottom of the third inning. It'll be the top of the batting order for the Tigers. Dick McAuliffe will lead off. He'll be followed by Mickey Stanley and then Al Kaline. 4-0, St. Louis leads. And it'll be interesting, Kurt, to see how this delay affects Bob Gibson. He struck him out. Dick McAuliffe struck out. That's 3 strikeouts in the ball game for Gibson, and he continues to get at least 1 every inning, and every inning he's pitched in this World Series. Here's Mickey Stanley. Strike 3 call. Well, Gibson probably dispels any doubts in the minds of Cardinal followers and Shane Deast and Billy Muffet on the bench as to how he would take this delay as he strikes out the first 2 batters. Here's Kaline. He had a double his first time up. This is Norman Cash in the on-deck circle. Kaline the batter. A 2-2 pitch. A liner down the left field line. It is foul. Here's the big pitch. Bouncing ball up the middle. It's through for a base hit. Kaline gets his second hit of this ball game as he bounces one up the middle.
And he now leads the Tigers with 6 hits. He and Brock are tied, 6 hits apiece in the series.
It's great to see this fella having a fine World Series. He's waited so long and almost didn't get in it. He's batting an even 400, 6 for 15. Norman Cash, the batter. There's a liner that's caught foul by Cepeda. A soft line drive that Cepeda caught just outside the line. So for the Tigers in the third, no runs on 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 left, and the score at the end of 3. The Cardinals 4 and the Tigers nothing. Bob Gibson will, this is Mayo Smith in the Tiger dugout. Johnny Sain sitting right behind him. Bob Gibson will be the leadoff man for the Cardinals in the 4th inning. Gibson, Brock, and Flood will be the Cardinal batters. There's the 1-1 pitch coming up. Strike. Good fastball over the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gibson bounced to the shortstop. His first trip. There she goes, a long belt to left. This one's well hit, and it's gone. A home run for Gibson. Bob Gibson getting his 2nd World Series home run. He had one last year against the Red Sox. He caught a high curveball almost out of the strike zone, much as Mickey Lolich hit, and drilled it into the seats.
And there it goes. In 1967, Gibson hit a series homer against the Red Sox. Now he has 2 for a pitcher's record.
Here's Lou Brock. We almost got that one right here. I thought you had it, Kurt.
We almost had it right in the face.
The thing Brock hits is a line drive, even to the TV booth. There's a drive into deep right center field. It's well hit, and it is against the fence on the first hop. This might be an inside the park job. Let's watch it. Nope, they're going to hold him. Brock is being held at third base. That ball hit the fence at the 415-foot mark on the first hop. Here it is, in deep right center field. This is the deepest part of this ballpark with the exception of straightaway center. And this is Mayo Smith coming out.
Detroit's other nemesis, Brock, drives deep to right center for a triple. And that's all for Joe Sparma. Darrell Patterson takes over the Tiger pitching.
Yes, you can hear the crowd roaring in the background. That's because it's raining hard. There's a fly ball into shallow right field. Brock's tagging up. This is going to be interesting. Kaline makes the throw, and he goes back. Well, the old pro, Al Kaline, right here, has long been known as one of the better throwing outfielders in baseball, and he just showed Mr. Brock that he was going to take charge for a moment. Look at this throw. Right on the plate, and Lou Brock came about halfway down the line and went back to third.
Watch this perfect strike to the plate. Brock wisely holds up in respect for one of baseball's best arms. Maris is up.
A high pop fly near the dugout. Cash and Freehand both coming over. Nobody covering home. Matthew comes over. They dropped it. Freehand and Cash ran together, and they dropped it. There's a bouncer to second. Nope, they can't get him. The ball bounced high in the air, and McAuliffe had no chance to get Brock.
Look at that jump by Brock as Maris grounds out. And it's now 6-0 Cardinals.
The big pitch. Ball, he walks. Cepeda gets a walk with 2 outs. The pitch to McCarver. There goes Cepeda. He is out at second base. Cepeda was running on the pitch, and you know, he wanted to get out quickly if he could, and he was tossed out by Freehand. 2 runs in the inning on 2 hits. There were no errors, none left, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play, the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers nothing. Willie Horton will lead off for the Tigers in the 4th inning. Horton, Northrop, and Matthews will be the batters. Ball 2 and no strikes to Willie. You can see the umbrellas in attendance. They're very prominent in the stadium right now. There's a strike. Ooh, he burned a fast one by him. 2-2. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count to Horton. And Gibson, a little disgusted with Horton as he takes time to go back to the Tiger dugout to get a towel, I think. Oh, he's going right in the dugout.
Going to get the mud out of his cleats. Bill Kinnaman, the home plate umpire, Gibson watching him. Now they're starting to play around with the weather.
Willie, on a dry day with the sun shining, takes a lot of time between pitches. He struck him out. Willie Horton went for the high fastball, and he struck out. It's 5 strikeouts for Gibson, and the batter will be Jim Northrop. Here's the pitch. Ball 3. Gibby seemed to slip on the mound on that one, Kurt. A 3-2 pitch. There's a long drive. Well hit. Could be. It's gone. Well, the Tigers have broken through against Gibson. A long home run into the upper deck in right center field. And it's a 6-1 ball game.
And here's a home run by Jim Northrop.
Here goes another one. If it stays fair, it is foul. Boy, Eddie Matthews had the range, and he pulled it foul. The payoff pitch. Ground ball, second base. Javier has it. Cepeda, he's out. Eddie Matthews goes out, second to first. That's 2 down, and the batter's Bill Freehand. He struck him. Good curveball, and Freehand strikes out. The Tigers get a run in the 4th inning. 1 run on 1 hit, a home run by Northrop. No errors, none left. And the score at the end of 4, the Cardinals 6, and the Tigers 1. Well, we go into the 5th inning. It's a 6-1 ball game. The Cardinals are out in front of the Tigers. 6 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the Cardinals. Detroit, 1 run, 4 hits, and they've made 2 errors. Tim McCarver will be the leadoff man. There's a fly ball into left center field. Northrop coming in along with Willie Horton. Northrop makes the play. So McCarver is out on a fly to left center. That's 1 away, and the batter will be Mike Shannon. There's a drive to left field. Willie Horton waiting on it. Puts it away. Look, he's out. Honachik called him out. 2 down, and the batter is Julian Javier. Darrell Patterson has 2 outs with nobody on in the 5th inning. Schultz coaching at third base. Not much to do in the way of flashing signs right now. There's a bouncer up the middle, and it's through into center field. Javier gets a ground ball single to center, just out of the reach of Stanley. Sal's 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out in the 2nd. There goes the runner to second base. Here's the throw, and he is out. Javier just giving himself up. He just trotted down to second base, and he wanted Patterson to throw him out, and Darrell just turned around and threw him out. No runs in the inning, 1 hit, no errors, none left, and the score as we go into the bottom of the 5th, the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1. Well, we move into the bottom of the 5th, and we're going to get a pinch batter, Jim Price, for the pitcher Patterson, and moving into the mic, all set to bring you the play-by-play for the last half of this ball game, our old friend Kurt Gowdy.
Thank you, George Kell. Jim Price, a reserve catcher, swinging the bat in the on-deck circle. He's got 3 on him very quickly, and that's strikeout number 7 for Gibson. 3-2, 1 out, nobody on to Dick McCullough. And there's another strikeout for Gibson, number 8. And here's Mickey Stanley. There's a smash in the deep left center. Kurt Flood positions himself and takes it. And the Tigers are out 1, 2, 3. And this is now an official ball game. So at the end of 5 innings, the score is the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1. And Fred Lasher, who appeared in 34 games with the Tigers this year, winning 5 and losing 1. Born in Poughkeepsie, New York, lives now in Janesville, Wisconsin. 27 years old. The 2-strike pitch. A ball, 1 and 2 to Dal Maxville. Call that ball, too. They said he wet his fingers. We had that call on Earl Wilson. There's strike 3. The rule again, if you put your hand or your fingers up in the area of your mouth, it's an automatic ball. 1 out. Bob Gibson coming up. Gibson is grounded out and hit a home run. Nubler will have to hurry on this one. The throw by Lasher is in time. Gibson is out. Now here's that man again, Lou Brock. Hit a tremendous homer in the right center field bleachers, upper deck in the 1st, grounded out in the 2nd, and then tripled in the 4th. He's now been on base 8 times in his last 10 times up in the series. Ground ball rammed hard to Mickey Stanley. And the Cards are out 1, 2, 3 in the 6th inning. At the end of 5 1/2, the score is the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1. They have doctored the home plate area again, are now moving to the mound to throw some fresh sand on it. In the last of the 6th inning, the Tigers will send up K-Line, Cash, and Horton. Line drive to Maxville. K-Line hit it hard again, but right at somebody. 1 away. Norm Cash has struck out and fouled out. Popped up. Mike Shannon calling for this one at 3rd. 2 down. Willie Horton has walked and struck out. The 2-2 pitch, there's strike 3, 9 strikeouts for Gibson. He has struck out now at least one man in every inning of the series that he's pitched in. 3 up and 3 down at the end of 6. It's the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1. This 4th game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you live and in color from Tiger Stadium on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. Remember, at the conclusion of today's World Series baseball game, NBC will switch to Oakland, California for the American Football League game between the Boston Patriots and Oakland Raiders, which will be in progress. And we'll have other games on, too, around the country, regional telecasts. Flood is Grounded out single and fly to right. He pops it up. Mickey Stanley squeezes it for out number 1 in the top of the 7th. Roger Maris has reached in an error by Denny McLain, who's flying out. Grounded out. He's knocked in a run with his infield bounder in the 4th. Has scored Lou Brock from 3rd. A high pop in the shallow center. Going out to McAuliffe. Coming on is Northrup. Dick McAuliffe, the second baseman, has it. Out number 2. Orlando Cepeda will be the next batter for the Cardinals. He has struck out, fouled out, and walked. Base hit for Cepeda in the left field. Willie Horton. Back into the infield. The Cardinals now have 10 hits. Tim McCarver singled. Then he tripled in the 3rd to drive in a run and was flied out. High fly in the shallow center. McAuliffe scooting out. Coming on is Northrup. Northrup calls for it and makes the catch for the 3rd out. No runs for the Cardinals in the 7th. 1 hit. There were no errors. 1 left. 6.5 gone. The Cardinals 6. The Tigers 1. It's the 7th inning stretch in Tiger Stadium. A wet and cold crowd on their feet. There's our camera on top of the stadium looking down. Bob Gibson warming up to face Northrup, Matthews, and Freehand. Gibson so far has allowed 4 hits, 1 run, a home run by Northrup in the 4th, has struck out 9. He now has 26 strikeouts in this World Series, 17 in the opener and 9 today. Northrup, a fly ball to left field, retired him in the 2nd, and he's home run in the 4th. Bounding ball to Cepeda. Easy play for him, 1 away. Outside, ball 3. You know, George, we get a lot of wires and letters during the series. It's good and bad, but the one I got a kick out of today was from a Hall of Fame baseball broadcaster, Red Barber. Sent his best regards to all of us.
He's a great guy. Been on many of these.
3-0 pitch is ball 4. Matthews is on. Red lives now in Key Biscayne, Florida. One of the greatest sports announcers and baseball broadcasters in the history of our business. Always will be.
Wonder how many World Series broadcasts and telecasts he's appeared on.
Oh, plenty.
Many. Great job by the old redhead.
Right. Al Allen, another Hall of Famer. Bill Freehand up and struck out twice. He's looking for his first hit of the series. Flag. 0-2. 0-3. That's the 3rd strike on him. He's out of there. It's 3 times Freehand has struck out. We're watching the dugout then, and Matchik now is coming out. Tom Matchik. Gibson is the only pitcher in World Series history to pitch 5 games with 10 or more strikeouts. Sandy Koufax, the only other pitcher with 3 10-strikeout games. Gibson now has 5 10-strikeout games. A 1-1 pitch. Fly ball out in the left center. Kurt Flood has it, and the Tigers are out in the 7th. No runs, no hits, there were no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 7, it's the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1. John Hiller, 25-year-old left-hander who won 9 and lost 6 for the Tigers this year with an earned run average of 2.39. He was born in Scarborough, Ontario. And here he is pitching to Shannon. Bounding ball, it's fair in back of the bag. Eddie Matthews, low throw. Cash can't handle it. So Shannon's on. Be an error charged on the throw. Error on Eddie Matthews. That's the 3rd Tiger error. Javier has struck out, walked, and singled. There's a drive down the left field line. That's a fair ball, rattling around in the corner. Willie Horton's up with it. Shannon's in the 3rd, and Javier's in the 2nd.
John Hiller pitching for the Tigers in the 8th. gets tagged by Javier. And umpire Jim Honeychick is there to call it. Right on the line for a double. Mike Shannon, who reached on an error, holds up at third.
The 11th hit for St. Louis. Al Maxwell has struck out, grounded out, and struck out. Now the bases are loaded with nobody out. Shannon's at third. Javier's at second. Maxwell's at first. And the pitcher, Bob Gibson, who grounded out, hit a home run in the left field seats in the fourth and rolled out in the sixth. Here's a 3-2 pitch. He walked him to force in a run. So Gibson has his second run batted into the game.
After a walk to Maxwell fills the bases, Gibson walks to force in a run. The bases are still loaded.
2 balls and no strikes. There's a smash in the deep center. Northrup watches the ball sail over his head. This may clean the bases. 2 runs are in. Here's Gibson scoring. And Brock was all the way to third and goes back to second. Brock got into third. Thought he was going to get into a jam with Gibson. Was rounded third and held up just a bit. Brock was so fast he got back to second. He cleaned the bases. He's now had a homer and 2 triples in this game.
Up comes Lou Brock again. Pure poison to the Tigers. He socks a tremendous cloud in the deep center. It's his 8th hit of this World Series. 2-run score. When Stanley hesitates with the relay, Gibson scores, and Brock winds up at second.
He had actually reached third. He had an easy triple, but he thought there was going to be a mess up on the bases, so he went back to second. And that's all for John Hiller. And there's a break in the action here. As the score now is the St. Louis Cardinals 10 and the Detroit Tigers 1. Pat Dobson, who's won 5 and lost 8, now comes in. There he goes. The throw is not in time, and he has just tied his own World Series record. That's his 7th stolen base. He has tied his own World Series record for most stolen bases set in 7 games last year. Look at this form. He runs like a whippet. Here he is. Look at those long strides. Burning speed. There's his slide. Bounding ball to third. It's a fair ball, is it? Foul ball, they say now. Foul ball. Here's Dale Smith coming out again. Bill Freehan's going down to argue. That's Tom Gorman at third. The home plate umpire, I believe, is calling it a fair ball. Tough call for Gorman. The runner was on there. Brock getting back. Matthews is trying to field the ball right by the bag. They're all gathered together, and they're explaining to Flood, you're out. So Flood rounds out third to first. Brock is still on third. Roger Maris up. And a stab by Dick McCullough. Stabbing a hot smash off the bat of Maris. 2 down. McCullough played an excellent World Series. Very steady in the field, and he chipped in with 5 hits.
You know, Kurt, Denny McLain's almost a cinch to be the most valuable player in our league, and maybe Bill Freehan second, but you can make a real case for Dick McCullough. He contributed a whole lot to this pennant, and he could very well be the most valuable player without any argument.
Orlando Cepeda now. 1 hit in 3 times. Brock still on third. Ground ball. Cash down on one knee for it. Will have to throw to the pitcher covering. And that retires the side. But the Cardinals came up with 4 big runs. 2 hits. There was 1 error and 1 left. At the end of 7 1/2, it's St. Louis 10 and Detroit 1. The last of the 8th inning. The Tigers are trailing 10-1 as they send up the top of their batting order Dick McAuliffe, Mickey Stanley, and Al Kaline. McAuliffe has grounded out and struck out twice. Bob Gibson has allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 10. There's a ground ball to the right side. Javier up with it, over to Cepeda, and they have 1 out. Mickey Stanley's fouled out, struck out, and flied out. There's a drive into left center. Going over for it is Lou Brock, 2 down. Al Kaline has doubled, singled, and lined out. There's a ground ball to Del Maxville. It's his throw. Gets him out quickly in the 8th. At the end of 8 innings, it's the St. Louis Cardinals 10 and the Detroit Tigers 1. In the top of the 9th inning, Tim McCarver, Mike Shannon, and Julian Javier will be up. Liner sinking quickly into left center for a base hit. And here goes McCarver on the second. Willie Horton picked up the ball. That's the 3rd hit for McCarver. An error on Northrop. A single for McCarver. And the Tigers have made 4 errors today. McCarver at second. Nobody out and Shannon up. 2 hits and 4 times. Broken bat grounder to short. Mickey Stanley into the dirt. Cash. They've been making low throws over him today, and he's done a good job coming up with them. McCarver stayed at second, 1 out. Javier struck out, walked, singled, and doubled. High fly in the left center. Jim Northrop waiting for it. So that's 2 down. And brings up Del Maxville, who has struck out, grounded out, struck out, and walked. Into shallow center, Northrop wasn't playing too deep, came on to grab it, retiring the side. In the 9th inning, the Cardinals had no runs, 1 hit, there was 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 8 1/2, the Cardinals 10 and the Tigers 1. The last call for the Tigers in the last of the 9th inning, with Cash, Horton, and Northrop scheduled up. Laces a single into right field. Cash on first to lead off the last of the 9th. Willie Horton up, walked and struck out twice. He lofts a high fly in the left center. Brock's coming hard. Flood's there to make the grab. Brock went right by him, and Flood took it. Larry Jaster, the left-hander, warming up. Jim Northrop has fly to left, hit a home run. The only run scored off Gibson today, and he's grounded out. One strike to Jim Northrop. 1 out. Norman Cash at first base. Cardinals 10, Tigers 1. Bounding ball hit down to Cepeda. Steps on first, throws to second. Here's a double play that ends the ball game. They had the force off and had to make the tag at second. Bob Gibson being congratulated as he wins another big one for the Cardinals. Breaks the all-time World Series record by winning his 7th World Series game in a row. Breaking the record he shared with Lefty Gomez and Red Ruffing. So that last of the 9th inning, it's no runs, 1 hit, or no errors, and nobody left. 10 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 1 run, 5 hits, and 4 errors for the Tigers. And so, George Kell, the Cardinals now go 2 games up. They lead 3 games to 1. If there's any solace for the Tiger fans, though, last year the Cardinals went ahead in the same pattern of the Red Sox, and the Red Sox came back to send the series into the 7th game, but the Tigers, of course, now have quite a job in front of them.
Well, the Tigers have their back to the wall, Kurt. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They got another dose today of what they got yesterday, lusty hitting by the Cardinals, and they ran into that man, Bob Gibson, who was just about as tough as he was on opening day, not quiet, but it's going to be tough. They're going to come back tomorrow with Mickey Lolich against Bryles and just hope for the best, and Mickey's been the only one that can win for him so far.
And Lou Brock tied 2 series records today, 7 steals in a series, tying his record he set last year in 7 games, and his 14th stolen base in a World Series competition, tying the late Eddie Collins record. And Brock has a chance to break that one tomorrow. So on behalf of George Kell here, this is Kurt Gowdy saying goodbye also for Tony Kubek. Final score, Cardinals win it 10-1.
In the last of the ninth, the Cardinals click off a neat double play to end the ball game. Bob Gibson sets an all-time World Series record with his 7th consecutive victory, and St. Louis now leads 3 games to 1.